Alan here from Crypto Answers, and today we're interviewing Nako Mbelle. She is the founder and chief connector over at Fintech Recruiters. They're a recruitment firm based out of Canada with offices throughout the world. So Nako, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for asking, Alan.
Sure. So what can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Like how did you get started in the recruitment industry? Where Fintech Recruiters is kind of at now, and who you're servicing and who your clients are.
Sure. So we are a financial technology recruiting firm, and fintech is quite broad. So we work with clients that are in crowdfunding, in alternative lending, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, yeah, blockchain, which is hot, very hot right now. So we do a variety of placements in fintech. The commonality between all of our clients is that they are disruptive. So that's sort of the key, disruptive in finance. So we don't work with like health tech or companies like that. It's strictly the financial services space. We have an office in Barcelona as well as New Jersey. It's actually New Jersey, but he helps me cover New York City. And we do placements in most of the hubs, the fintech hubs. So Toronto, which is where I'm located, San Francisco, New York, London, Hong Kong, Singapore, Atlanta. Those are really hotbeds for fintech right now. So we do quite a few placements in those cities. But generally speaking, if clients are looking to place somebody that's outside of those cities, we will definitely work on the position. We work on not just technical roles, which is most of what we work on, but we also have non-technical positions, whether it be business development, marketing. But most of our roles, as you can imagine, is for software developers in the space.
I gotcha. So speaking of software development or developers, I remember I would say that I guess for the past 10 or 20 years, it would have been sufficient enough to perhaps be good at one particular field like finance or programming. But I think with the fintech, I could be wrong. Correct me if I am. Field for our listeners that are not necessarily familiar with the fintech space, and like you said, it is broad. But from what I'm understanding is that it's no longer necessarily good enough. The talent that you're seeking and recruiting, which we'll get into in a second, they um, it's no longer good enough to be particularly skilled at programming or particularly skilled at finance. Now the world, it seems, the industries are seeking talent that's very competent in both of those spheres, right? And that's kind of financial technology, right? The word is derived from, or the industry.
Okay, so it depends on the company. It depends on the startup. Most startups, they will hire you for one thing and you'll end up wearing a couple different hats. That's just the nature of a startup. However, if you're a developer, let's say you're a Go developer, which is hot right now. Everybody wants Golang people, and you don't necessarily have financial experience, people will still hire you because they're really looking for somebody with solid coding skills, who
I
really
see.
understands. Yeah, so people still want specialists, but it's definitely a benefit if you've worked in finance.
Of course.
Uh, yeah, what I would say to anybody who's listening and who wants to go into the financial technology space, there are certain stacks that the fintech startups love, and fintech and let's just say blockchain likes a certain stack, and then the other fintech non-blockchain also like a certain stack. So I
Right,
can
right.
I can do you want me to go into that now or?
If you can actually just one thing because it is kind of hot, especially amongst our viewers, which is Solidity.
Sure.
If you can go into that a little bit.
Okay, great. So Solidity is the language that Ethereum is written on. However, like most programming language, there's always an origin. So if you're a C developer, Solidity will make sense because a lot of Solidity is based on the C language. If you're a C++ developer, Bitcoin will make sense because the Bitcoin protocol is built from C++. It's built on using the C++ language. So there are always ways to get into the sector if you understand what the root languages are, or what's very similar to the languages that they're creating, that they're the new languages, if you will, like Solidity.
I got you.
And and generally speaking, the stack that a lot of blockchain companies really seem to like is they will, like I said before, they like Go on the back end. They also like um, JavaScript, both on the back end, Node.js, and on the front end, React.js. And so JavaScript is big. If you're even if you're a Java developer, there might be some companies that are, excuse me, that are using Java, but most companies, um, will either prefer Go, or they like Python is still around. Like there's still demand for some Python developers, particularly if they're using Bitcoin. And let me see what other tech stacks can I think of. But yeah, so Solidity, is something that I'm not sure how hard it is, but you can probably go to a boot camp and learn it, or just teach yourself it if you have C. See, if you have C, it'll be a lot easier for you.
I gotcha. Okay. So we covered kind of what the talent, your ideal, I guess, talent um, pool is like. Where are you currently sourcing your talent from? If that's not. Uh,
Yeah, I can
no.
share that.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. So it's not easy. First of all, they're not on monster.com. Okay, let's just
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So most of our talent, I use a lot of social media and platforms. So LinkedIn is huge, obviously, and Facebook. I belong to certain groups, and there are developers in those groups. So I'll reach out to them there. And the Reddit, Reddit is really good for finding people as well, because there's a very active developer community on Reddit. Um, Sometimes Twitter, uh, although not as much, but definitely there are people that are extremely vocal on Twitter, and they will have followers, and if the followers make a certain comment, I can sometimes pick out, okay, this guy's definitely a developer. I'm going to reach out to them. So social media is like our number one source of talent, really. We don't necessarily have a database that we can go to, because all of this is still so new that many people that we have in our database are doing still traditional, quote unquote, positions, right? They're still working in traditional companies. So a lot of it is just really, uh, you know, the new mediums
Gotcha.
for hiring, as well as referrals. Like, referrals are really good. So if I hire somebody or if I interview someone, I always ask for referrals. Like, do you know anybody? And they that's usually like our highest quality candidates actually come from people who know people, right? And
Yeah.
or they'll refer their friends or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. It's usually the case. It seems. Um. Yeah. So, like, where do you think, kind of moving forward, where do you see the blockchain kind of epoch, going towards the future, kind of both in the recruitment industry and perhaps as like a whole, in terms of cryptocurrency? I know we spoke about Africa and how, I mean, in my opinion, and it seems the case that, like, because many of their countries suffer from like hyperinflation,
Hmm.
and they can really make good use of this decentralized kind of properties of cryptocurrencies.
Yes. Oh man, this question just makes me happy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have huge hopes for this industry. I think it's gonna change the world. I think there are people who are doing amazing stuff, and I think we're at a stage where we were in 1994, where the internet was just like literally being, built, right? In terms of like the infrastructure and,
Right.
Netscape was around, Google wasn't around yet. So there was no Google, there was no Facebook, no Twitter, none of that. It was just like people were using AOL. That was the internet,
Yeah.
pretty much, was America Online. So I think that's where we are now. So just imagine like how much more there is to come, right? If that's where we are now. So I'm very excited about the upliftment of people that have historically been excluded from upward mobility, economic mobility, and that could be like globally, right? Whether it's in the third world or whether it's the unbanked in North America. I think many of us, when we hear the word unbanked, we automatically think of a third world country or a third world person.
Sure.
But there are people among us who don't really have a bank account, and if they do, they don't use it that much. They're they're the cash, what do they call them, the cash check places. You can go to certain neighborhoods, right? You can go to certain neighborhoods where there's like one on every corner, and they pretty much, that's their bank. That's the definition of unbanked. And more middle class people are using these services. So it's gone to a point, even in our own society, where the unbanked is actually a growing number of people. And we're at a point, I think, in history where people are slowly waking up and realizing that we have been bamboozled. Okay, we've been hoodwinked, and you don't need to be a libertarian or somebody that's an extremist to feel that way. It's you log on to your bank account and you can see that, there are fees, especially if you work for yourself. Like if you're an entrepreneur, oh my God, like the fees that come out of your account because you don't have the direct deposit, like at least I don't.
Yeah.
As an employer, right? As somebody that works for myself, I kind of pay myself last, which I shouldn't, but I do, right? That's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
So I am really like, they hit me for certain things that I'm not too happy about. And granted, there are times where I have had my fees waived, but I'm having it less waived because I've taken out some of that capital and have put it into cryptocurrency. So I'm one of those people that I'm really all into this in this industry. I kind of walk the talk,
Yeah.
right? So I'm kind of putting my money where my mouth is. But the bit that I still have in the bank, I'm like, they're charging me for giving them my money. Like it just makes me so angry. And I know that this is happening to lots and lots of other people, and people are kind of getting the message. So these technologies allow us normal people, regular people, to control our own wealth, number one, and to have more freedom in terms of where we live and work, and be able to, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Just have a sense of empowerment, and I think that the what is exciting me right now is the decentralized exchanges. So right now in the cryptocurrency space, everyone complains about the exchanges. There are a few that are okay, but they all kind of suck, right? If you use them enough,
Yeah,
you'll
yeah,
find
like
some fault. Hmm?
yeah, like Poloniex, is frequently down. So is Bittrex, and yeah, there's a whole myriad of issues. Definitely, that's
Yes,
a whole other conversation.
exactly. So I'm excited about that development. I'm
Yeah,
excited about where decentralized exchanges will be able to, be another avenue, right? Be another choice for people that are trading cryptocurrencies, and they also will safeguard us against any possible, crackdown, right? You know what I
of
mean? If
course.
it's decentralized, they're not going to be able to stop it regardless.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the cat will be out of the bag. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about a lot of things. I mean, I love this space, and I just if you're listening and you're not actively in it, you know, you don't have to have a lot to start. You can start off with $100, buy a couple tokens that you like, don't be intimidated. If I could do it, okay, and I'm not that technical, and I'm definitely not a trader. Like, I knew nothing about trading at all before I started. So try it out, and join the Facebook groups, ask questions. There are people that are there to help you. It's a pretty helpful community, and it's also lots of fun.
Of course, yeah. So, um, I think that pretty much wraps it up for today. Nako, I really appreciate you coming on. It's a really great pleasure talking to you.
It's a pleasure speaking with you too, Alan, and I'm looking forward to hearing more of your show. I think I'm really happy that there are people out there like you who are educating the public and spreading the word, right? Because that's what we need. We need more people in crypto.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Yeah, so Nako, I think you mentioned this earlier, but if anybody is interested in reaching out to you, they can do so just social media.
Yes, you can reach me on LinkedIn. My first and last name, which is Nako, and the last name is M as in Mary, B as in Bob, ELLE, as well as our website, which is fintechrecruiters.com, and recruiters is plural. And Twitter is at Fintech Careers. So yeah, just feel free to reach out, and I'd be happy to speak with you.
Perfect. All right, Nako, thanks again. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend.
Yes, you too. Thanks, Alan.
All right, see you, Nako. Bye.
Okay, bye.